Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to the Rangers Ramble Women's Show. First of all, a bit of housekeeping out of the way. Apologies that we are Tuesday night, not Monday night. Monday night we couldn't get all our ducks in a row. Tuesday night we had everybody primed, ready to go. Then Brian got called into work, and Laura remembered to something she really had to do. So that just left me in car. So I've called in a substitute off the bench. We brought in Alan, who is involved with the official Rangers Women's Supporters Group podcast that Cara and Laura do after all the games. Nice little plug for you guys. So, Cara, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. I'm feeling a bit better than I was on Sunday, so
Good.
good.
Not as rushed as you were on Sunday either.
No, God, that was a bit hectic, but I got there to see all of nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alan, thanks very much for joining us and for bailing us out of a tight spot.
No worries, listen, it's a pleasure to be invited, and I'm not fully match fit, so sub appearance is probably my best bet right now.
Okay, so we've got 3 games to talk about because obviously we didn't do a pod last week because we didn't really see the point. We had one game to talk about. It was a run-of-the-mill cup tie against Dundee United where we were always going to win easy, and we won easy. So that game against Dundee United, as I say, it was in the 4th round of the Scottish Cup. Sorry, the Scottish Cup. Let's get it right. We started off, I'll do my best Brian Foderingham impersonation leading out the teams here. We started off with Vic Hesson in goal before she went to meet in New Zealand to help them with their Olympic qualification. Back 3, as is kind of what we do, of Nick Docherty, Catherine Hill and Tess Medag. Midfield, sort of 5 around about changing positions: Brogan Hay, Rachel Rowe, Ailey Austin, Liv McLaughlin and Jodie McCleary, and up front we had Rio Hardy and Jane Ross. Car, that's a sort of, I don't know, standard sort of team you'd expect for a game like that, right?
Yeah, I don't know about everyone else, but I assumed that players were getting rested. The fact that there wasn't certain players on the bench, and obviously we'll come on to it later on, that then became a bit of a concern with players missing. But I was happy Vic was getting a few more games. I don't know whether I didn't realise they had these games coming up with New Zealand. So I'm thinking now maybe it was a case of give her some game time before she goes in so she's not going in cold kind of thing. But, happy with very attacking, very strong team. Couldn't have asked for much more.
Yeah, and Alan, the game started off as you would expect it to. Nice 5 goals in the first half. We had Rachel Rowe, a goal for Ailey Austin on her first start, which is always nice. Brogan Hay, Cathy Hill with the usual Cathy Hill screamer from about 3 inches, and Jane Ross, and that took it up to a nice, basically the tie was won by half time.
I think we went into the game looking to score goals. We're only 2 or 3 weeks removed from putting 10 past Dundee United at Broadwood, so we came out and scored, as you say, 5 goals by half time, and there was a bit of a gap between some of the goals where the game fell flat, but as you say, the game was completely put to bed by half time. It was good to see a spread of goal scorers as we've seen so many times this season.
Yeah, Carl, I was just going to say, nice to see 5 different goal scorers in that first half.
Yeah, we've kind of got used to it, haven't we? That all over the park players are contributing with goals, which is nice, that you're not just lumping it all on Rio or Jane or Sarah or whoever might be up front. So it's nice that everybody's kind of stepping in, and rebounds were coming off and there was a player there to tap it in or get their own rebound kind of thing. So it's nice that everyone was chipping in, and looked like a very hopeful evening to put another 10 past them. Just fell a little bit short, but can't complain at night.
Yeah, it certainly showed the gulf between the better teams, as in us, and the not so good teams, as in them, because we've rattled 10 past them a few weeks before that. And then at half time in this game, we had a couple of substitutions. Chelsea Cornet and Lizzie Arnott came on for Catherine Hill and Rachel Rowe. Carl, was that a bit of a surprise to you that we basically brought on a midfield player and a wide attacker and took off a centre and half and a midfield player?
I don't know, because Jo does that, doesn't she? She likes to play players in different positions, and Ailey Austin's been moved kind of up and down and all over the top. So I think it's just something that Jo tries to see who we've got in positions if we get injuries or if people are kind of struggling. But the one that baffled me was Michelle Coulson, how she couldn't come on. You take Cathy Hill on, you assume you're going to put another centre back on, but she's not getting a sniff at the moment, so I don't know what's going on there. But I mean, it worked, and you're never going to argue with Brogan and Lizzie Arnott coming on, are you? Like, two mainstays of the team.
Yeah, I mean, what made it even stranger for me, Alan, was that in the 58th minute, Lisa Martinez came on for a long-awaited return after her injury. You would have thought that if we were taking Cathy off at half-time, we'd possibly have put Lisa on at that point.
I would have been very surprised if Lisa's first game back had been a full 45. You know, Joe's been very sort of rigid in how she's brought back players and gave him incremental game time. We were actually surprised that Lisa got as many as 30 minutes, but it just showed the value of having somebody like Tess in the team who started in midfield, brought back into centre half, and then another 15 minutes later when Lisa came on, she moves back into midfield.
Yeah, and then obviously Carol, along with Lisa, me and my colleague came on for Rio Hardy, and then later on in about 15 minutes later, Sarah Ewens came on for Jane Ross, who by that time had scored her second goal of the game, because Jane got goal number 6 just into the second half. We then had a First Rangers goal for Olivia McLaughlin, or Liv as she likes to be called, on loan from Aston Villa, and certainly impressing me in what I've seen of her. And then probably the highlight of the game probably is the returning Lisa Martinez getting her goal, and by Christ, she looked a wee bit happy scoring that.
Yeah, I don't think she expected it, because she told us after the game that she'd said to Lizzie, put it on my head, like aim for me, put it on my head. And obviously it didn't quite land on her head, but it landed on her knees, and she got it over the keeper. You couldn't ask for much more. You could see how happy everyone was for her. Joe was ecstatic, everyone was buzzing. So it's nice to see on her first game back that she gets a goal, because I worry if she hadn't scored that, then she had a few games where she wasn't playing, if it might have sat on her a wee bit. Am I going to score again when she was scoring for fun before she got injured? So it's nice to see, and I love Lisa, so I was fairly happy that she scored.
Yeah, Alan, it wasn't a classic. From what I remember of it, it's sort of about. Carl's been very generous saying it. She put it in with her knee. It sort of hit off her knee and bounced over the keeper. But I mean, it's a goal after that length of time out. I mean, the good thing for me, the entire team were absolutely delighted for her.
Oh, it's clear to see the team spirit in the camp is absolutely second to none. And I'd said before in the game, if Lisa came on, she would score, because I think she scored a ridiculous amount of goals against Dundee United last season for a centre back. So she came on and scored a few minutes later, and I think it was definitely a more celebrated goal at the 9 on the day.
Yeah, I think it was, and obviously the 9th goal scored by another substitute, Mia McCauley, who's also chipping in a few goals.
Yeah, I mean, she's turned out to be a real asset for us. From a player that came in to kind of shore up and get some minutes, she's turned into basically one of the wingers now. It's either Brogan or her or Jodie. Like, she has to play because she's one of the best players on the team, I'd argue, for her age, and her talent is just incredible. So it's just been phenomenal what Jo has managed to do with these young players, giving them as much time as she's given them, and just really trusted them to go and do what she knows they can do, and they're just going to come on even more than they already have. It's incredible. Her and Ailey Austin, had really good games.
Yeah, Alan, Carl says Ailey Austin, as she mentioned earlier, she sort of seems to get shunted about all over the place. Where do you think her best position actually is? Because she seems to get moved about from position to position as manager sees fit.
I think her most natural position is as a right back, and quite an attacking right back, but Wales not playing that system. I think she's going to fit into the team mostly on the right hand side of the sort of three at the back. So she's still able to get forward a lot there, but you can see the increase in discipline and knowing when to go and when to stay. And that was her first 90 minutes against Dundee United, and the biggest compliment that we've paid on our pod to Ailey is that she doesn't look like a young player playing in the team. When Ailey Austin plays, she looks like a first-team player, which I think is the biggest compliment we can pay her right now.
Yeah, I think that's also testament to the team spirit that you mentioned a couple of minutes ago. That the young players come in and they don't look particularly like young players. I mean, even before Laura Berry went out on loan, any time that she played, certainly when I saw her, they just treated her like another part of the team. It wasn't like, well, that's just a young kid. We'll just kind of maybe let her a couple of hits at the ball, but that's it. They all seem to be treated the same by the more senior players in the squad.
Yeah, I think it helps that a lot of these first-time first team players have been here for years, so I've seen these girls come up through the unders through the academy, and I've probably seen them grow up, a lot of them. So I think it's testament that they all kind of know each other. They have that mutual respect, and I'll help you. Like, here's what we can do, and we'll work it out together. And Jo just come in and has just really shored up that kind of mutual, well, you're just as good as me, it doesn't matter how old you are kind of thing. And I think that's how Kirsty McLean, Jodie and Ailey Austin and Mia have really just come on so well, because they've been trusted with that responsibility. Jo's picked the ones that she thinks have the ability, sent some of them out on loan to get more experience, which worked last season for Ailey Austin, for example, and has done the same this season and kept the ones that she knows that can help with the squad depth that we need.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that, Alan, they seem to have got the loan players out. A lot of the younger players seem to have gone out on loan. The one that really surprised me is Laura Berry, because we are a wee bit short up front, bodies wise. Were you surprised that Laura went out on loan in the window?
I was partly surprised, particularly Kirsty Howitt's still a good few weeks away for fitness, but Laura Berry wasn't getting a lot of game time. We'd all like to see Laura Berry play more, even from the bench. So the most important thing for Laura Berry right now is that she gets game time, and she gets game time at first team level. I'd like to have kept her. I'd like to have had her involved. I think she's going to contribute more than Sarah Ewens has so far this season. So I was a wee bit surprised.
We'll get to Sarah Ewens. Don't worry about that. We'll get to her.
Look, that's not a jump on any criticism of Sarah Ewens, but I just feel that Laura Berry offers something, and I'd like to have seen her stay and get minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, Cara, I was going to touch on it later about Alan's mentioned that just now the injuries. Obviously, Kirsty Howitt's a few weeks away, and it would appear that Innie's on the injured list, or is she? Do we know yet? I mean, I know she was at the game with Kirsty against Thistle. We'll get to that, but she didn't look injured. I mean, it's not like she wasn't walking about with a stookie on or an e-brace or anything like that. Do we actually know what's happened to Innie?
No, it wasn't until after the Dundee United game, when we were waiting outside, that we saw Rachel McLaughlin on crutches, which was a worry when we saw that. And then we kind of were asking around, like, what's happened? And they were all very, they didn't want to come out and say what was wrong, but they just kind of said, she's got a knock, she'll be back soon, it's nothing major. So we thought, a couple of games she'll be back, but she's not back yet. So it is a bit of a concern, like what it is, but we don't know because they don't tell us. I don't understand why it's a secret, why we're not allowed to know what players, unless it's an ACL or something really bad, they come out and tell you. But little things that might put them out for a few weeks. And we wouldn't have known about Kirsty Howitt if she had not posted it on Instagram herself. So I don't understand why it's a secret, why we're not allowed to know when the men's team come out and say, how long, roughly, what's happened kind of thing. It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, the thing that really worries me about Innie, we were talking about it at the Thistle game yesterday. We thought, hopefully she's back for Celtic next week. The thing that worries me is the Scotland squad get announced today and she's nowhere near it. Then that would tell me that they've inquired about how bad is her injury. Is she going to be back for the Penitar Cup at the end of the month? And the fact she's not in the squad makes me think that she probably won't be, which means there's got to be a fighting chance that she won't play on Sunday. Or am I reading too much into it?
No, I think if you're looking at Kirsty McLean not being named in the Scotland squad, I would highly doubt that she's going to be fit to play on Sunday, which will be a massive blow for us. But I think it's something we'll just have to deal with. It's a chance for Liv McLaughlin, who's played a couple of games now, to step up and show why she's so highly rated, and just everybody around the boot, just a chance to go out there and show that we can play with Kirsty McLean, because I think looking at it for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we're probably going to have to do that.
Yep. Right, okay. We'll get back to next Sunday at the towards the end. That's just when we were talking about injured players there. I thought I'd maybe throw that one in. So after the high and the euphoria of getting into the Scottish Cup quarter-final, we came the Scottish Cup quarter-final draw, when Car, once again, for the second season in a row, the quarter-final will be against Hibernian. Only this time it'll be in Leith. It won't be a home game for us.
No, and that'll be 2 weeks in a row. We'll be through to Leith to play Hibs. Which is it's a coincidence that it's worked out that way, but it's just It's funny, isn't it? So we're just going to have to beat them 2 weeks in a row, and we beat them in the final of the League Cup last year, so I think we can do it again, no problem. But just, they have improved. I will say Hibs have improved, so it's got to be something that we're going to have to be wary of, that we're going to need to be on our A game, and we're not going to be able to, like the Hearts game, like the Partick game, as we'll come on to. We need to be perfect in almost all the areas to make sure that we're get by them. But I don't know. I don't mind playing Hibs, but I hate going through to Edinburgh. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, it's just Carl says it's 2 weeks in a row at Meadowbank, and the fly in the ointment is that the men's first team Scottish Cup quarter final on the same day as the women's quarter final is Hibs away. So, do we think that they're going to have a wee bit of savvy and make both games achievable for the fans to get to?
You would like to think so, but you know Scottish football, they're going to be in 2 separate days, and it's going to work out that people are going to have to travel twice or make a choice, one game or the other.
I don't see any way they will be on separate days, because the men's game has to be the Sunday because we're in Europe on the Thursday, and the women's games are always on the Sunday. So I think they're both going to be the same day. They're both going to be the 10th of October. 10th of October? Where they got from 10th of March. So, you know what I mean? The chances are they may well overlap, which would be a bit of a concern. Carl, do you think that there might be a wee bit of out the box thinking here, make one of them 1 o'clock, one of them 4 o'clock?
Well, Alan said to me on Sunday, we went to the Hamilton Motherwell game after the Rangers game, and he said to me, why don't they make it a double header? Put the men's game first or the women's game first, and then have the men's game after it. And then it gives people the option of, obviously most of us won't get a ticket to the men's game, but if we're able to then go to the women's game as well, it might get more people to go along. But I don't know if they would do that, to be honest. I don't know if Hibs women would want to do that. I doubt it, to be honest. But they'll probably be roughly the same time, or they will overlap. There's no chance one's going to be at 1 o'clock and one will be later on in the evening. There's just, I'm very doubted. They can't schedule games to not clash. It seems impossible for them.
Yeah, it's. I mean, to me, the simple thing to do is, the women's game at 1 o'clock and the men's game at 4 o'clock, because it'll be on Viaplay. That's an absolute certainty.
Yeah.
So, and Viaplay put their Sunday game, the previous round, on at 4 o'clock on Sunday. So why not just do that? You know what I mean? But we'll wait and see. We'll see when that comes in. I mean, it's Hibs 2 weeks in a row at Meadowbank, which is quite ironic because I've seen a game at Meadowbank just to chalk off all the grounds, but I've never seen a Rangers team play at Meadowbank, and I could conceivably see a Rangers team playing there 2 weeks in a row if the fixture times work out, because I'll definitely be at the game on the league game on the 3rd. I'll definitely be at that. So, we'll see how that pans out.
It's not a particularly good ground for watching games at.
Oh, it's horrible because it's an athletic stadium, and it's not a very big athletic stadium. So you've got the huge. I mean, I was in it before it got redeveloped. I was in it. I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, but which before they redeveloped it, and it wasn't great. But I wasn't even interested in what I was watching. I'd been in every other ground apart from that and Albion Rovers, so I had to go there, and I went there and watched them play. I can't even remember who it was. It was Edinburgh City against somebody. I can't remember who it was, but it wasn't great. But anyway, that's not why we're not here to talk about my football travelling about, Alan. I know you'd sit and talk about grounds all day before you jaunt off on your travels to Milan and Munich and whatever else it is that you're heading off to. So last Wednesday night, live on BBC Alba, which is where I watched it because I couldn't justify going back down after being down on the Tuesday, we had a home game against Hartlepool Midlothian, and the starting lineup against Hearts was Jenna Fife, Cathy Hill, Tess Medag, Nick Docherty, Brogan Hay, Chelsea Cornett, Liv McLaughlin, Lizzie Arnott, Rachel Rowe, Jane Ross, and Rio Hardy. And it was a wee bit attritional.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game, to be honest. I put it down to being the Wednesday. They were maybe a bit tired. It was a bit of a slog. Hearts are quite a good team. They set up quite well. We ground it out. We did enough to get the result, but looking back on it, it maybe should have been a bit of a worry, and I kind of just took it for granted that we found a way to win it, and that was enough. But it wasn't great. Like, it was a struggle to watch it a lot of the times. To be fair to her, the Hearts goalie made a couple of really good saves, so it could have maybe been 3 had she not, made those saves. But we should really be doing better against, part-time teams or partially full-time teams, whatever Hearts are at the moment. We should be able to do a bit better.
Yeah, Alan, we won the game with a first half goal from Jane Ross. I mean, when Jane scored, I was like, it was about half an hour or something like that. Did you think that was, that was the one that we needed to sort of get the impetus and maybe put 2 or 3 past them?
Well, I hoped when we scored that goal it would have settled us down. We seemed to be very keen to go long very quickly, and I wondered if perhaps that was us attempting to get in behind Hearts and get him turned and facing our own goal, but at no point did it really work through the 90 minutes, but we persisted with it. So I hope that getting the early goal, not quite that early, but once we got the first goal, I hope we maybe settled down, get a foot in the ball a wee bit and play more. But, it was a very physical game from both sides, and that probably disrupted our rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I only had the misfortune of watching it on BBC Alba, and it certainly, I don't know what it was like for you guys actually at the game, but it wasn't great to watch on the telly. It was one of those games. It was 3 points and up the road. Just to finish off with the lineup, 20 minutes to go. Maya McCauley came on for Brogan Hay, and Sarah Ewens came on for Rio Hardy, and then for some reason in the 92nd minute we were up on Jodie McCleary for Lizzie Arnott. I'll never understand making a 92nd minute substitution just for the hell of making a 92nd minute substitution.
I mean, it was very bizarre. I don't know what the point of it was, whether it was just to slow the game down a bit to try and get to full time, maybe. I don't really know, because she didn't really have much to do. She didn't really get a chance to do anything, to be honest. Although I will say, I think she stripped a little bit earlier to get ready to come on, and then it just didn't happen kind of fast enough for her to be able to do it. But I don't know why we're not utilising Jodie more. She's a fantastic winger, very talented, will offer you good balls into the box, and we've just really not been using her. And I don't know if Jo just maybe favours Mia and Brogan and Lizzie a bit more, but I think Jodie offers us something a bit different, and she's quite quick, so it could be useful to use her a bit more often than we have been.
Yeah, Alan, I think Carl's right there. I think Jodie's she's a prodigious talent. She's got, you can play her on either side. You can even play her down the middle. She knows how to attack a goal. She knows how to have a shot. I'm at a loss as to why she doesn't see more game time.
I'm very much in the same camp as both of you. I'd like to see Jodie McCleary get more game time, and I've long said that I see Jodie McCleary's future as a centre forward. I think that's where she's most effective, when she gets into spaces through the middle. And if you watch Jodie McCleary's goals back, most of them are scored from within the width of the posts. But she's dropped off in the game time she's had lately, and hopefully we'll see more game time for Jodie soon, because I definitely think she's an absolute nuisance to defences that she's up against, and we could do with that.
Do you not think she's a bit light to be a centre forward?
Not really. I think she's toughened up massively from even going back to the beginning of last season. She's much stronger on the ball, much more effective at holding the ball up, and I think her movement's good enough to make up for any lack of physicality.
Carl, Jodie McCleary is a centre forward for you?
I mean, in our current team, I don't think she'd get less game time than she currently is, I think, if she was a centre forward. But I don't know. I think she works well on the wing. I think she does well running down, the kind of byline and crossing balls in. She does quite well there. And as you say, cutting inside to take shots on or play balls into whoever. She works quite well. So I think she maybe could be used there. And we did see it under Malky. She was used through the middle a couple of times, and we thought she looked quite good. So I see where you're coming from. But as a permanent position, I don't think so. I think she works better more as a winger.
Right, Carl, keep staying with you on the subject of strikers, and nice to see that Brian's got his priorities right, as somebody said in the chat, because he can't be with us, because he's obviously really hard at work, because he's not only watching the pod, he's contributing to it by asking a few questions. So, are we concerned about Rio's lack of scoring recently?
Yes, I wasn't, because everybody else was chipping in and Jane's back and she's scoring a lot of goals. But the last couple of games, I did get a little bit concerned about it, just purely because she was doing a lot of the hard work. She was going and getting the ball and playing the ball in and doing all the right things, but just couldn't quite get any of her shots to work. She was had balls in, the keeper was saving it, and then someone else was getting the rebound. So I don't know. She did have a slight injury, so I don't know if she's maybe not fully fit or if something's gone on there that she's not quite 100% potentially, or maybe she just hit a bit of a lull and she can't score every game or multiple goals every game, which we would like, but it's kind of frustrating at the moment when we aren't scoring as many goals, the Hearts game, the Partick games, and you really need someone there that's going to kind of dig it out. So it's a slight concern, but I'm sure on Sunday she'll do what she does best and put a couple past Celtic.
Yeah, indeed. Alan, and while we're talking about strikers, before we go on to the Partick game, I'll try to put that off as long as possible because it really wasn't very good. I mean, even my dog fell asleep. Somebody, Paul commenting on the Jodie McCleary for the centre forward opinion that if Ewens can do it, Jodie can definitely do it. So Sarah Ewens, what does she bring to the team?
It's been hard to see. She's came in with a record of scoring goals, and once she finally got clear of some niggling injuries, she was scoring some goals. But she seems like a striker that's just playing with a lack of confidence right now. The ball's not sticking to her, it's bouncing off her, so she's not linking up as much. And to be honest, I can barely remember in the last few games Sarah Ewens actually having any shots on goal. So she doesn't seem to be finding herself in the positions to actually score goals, which her record suggests that she will do.
Yeah, Cara, as Alan says, she's got a touch like a snooker cushion, and for me, she's far too static. She's not nearly mobile enough for the way we try to play.
Yeah, I don't know if she doesn't fit the system as well, maybe, and that's why she's not been scoring as much as obviously she was here before, not at us, but has scored quite a lot of goals. Down south, she scored quite a lot of goals. So you kind of assumed that when she came to us, where she'd get quite good service, that she'd be all right and she'd score a few. But she has scored a few, but maybe not as much as we'd like, with Rio scoring and Jane scoring as many as they have been. She really needs to kind of step it up. But I find the ball gets stuck in her feet a lot and she can't quite get it out. And it's almost a case that someone else has to come and get the ball off of her because she just can't quite get there. And I don't know what that is, whether it is a lack of confidence, as Alan says, or she's just not quite fully fit and then just never fully recovered from whatever the injury was that she had. I don't know, but it's bizarre because you'd think the amount of service that the midfielders and even, our right back and left back give the forwards, that she'd, have so many more goals, but she hasn't got there yet. And maybe she'll come good second half of the season, but it's just a strange one.
Yeah, let's hope so. So anyway, we've put it all quite long enough. So on Sunday past there, we had another wee trip to Petershill, which we always seem to struggle a bit at Petershill. I don't know whether it's because it's a small park or what it is, but it was a very uninspiring 0-0 draw against Partick Thistle. And for that game, we lined up with Jenna Fife in goal because Nick's still away doing a Olympic bit with New Zealand. I believe they won earlier on today. I think I saw that on social media earlier. They're a good win earlier today. Clean sheets, you can't argue with that. I hope she's available for Sunday. Hope they get knocked out so she can come back and play on Sunday. But anyway, Jenna in goal. In front of Jenna, we had Nick Docherty, Kath Hill, Tess Medag, Rachel Rowe, Jane Ross, Mia McCauley, Lizzie Arnott, Sarah Ewens starting the game, Chelsea Cornett, and Olivia McLaughlin. Alan, how were you? As Car missed the first half of this live because I know she was working, and fair play, that's devotion for you folks. Car finished work and hot-footed it to Petershill for the second half of the game. Still resplendent in a uniform, the whole bit, straight in. That's devotion for you. So, Alan, what did you think of that when the team came through?
Disappointed maybe not to see a couple of players return to the squad. We've obviously talked about some of the injuries, and we would have liked to see at least one or two return. Michelle Coulson's disappeared off the face of the planet. We don't know what's up with her. We've talked about Kirsten McLean missing, but in terms of starting lineup, pretty much as expected. with a wee worry just before the game started is after a warm-up, Rachel Rowe left the field with the physio and looked to be having some sort of issue. And then there was a delay in the teams coming out, or I should say, there was a delay in our team coming out at the start of the game. So we were wondering if maybe some plans were changing. But, you know, started the game, we never really got started. And Carol really didn't miss much in that first half.
No, she didn't. I mean, Carrie, that was a worry. I mean, we you know, I mean, one of the first things Laura said to you when you came in was that, you know, Rachel went off it just before the game started with the physio, and you know, we wondered, but she managed the last 90 minutes, so it can't have really been anything. I don't know what it was. But she didn't look as if she was walking freely as she went off, but she managed to last the entire game. So that seems to be nothing to worry about. Here's hoping it's nothing serious because we're going to need her on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, do one with a comment. Disappointing big time with the result against Thistle. Last few games we've been well below par. I say the last 2 games, Dundee United game, you can't really lay that at. But it could all disappear with a win against them. No harm done. We're never going to win every game. There's always going to be bumps in the road. That's just football. I mean, we always seem to struggle, as I say, a little bit at Petershill. I don't know whether it's the ground or the fact that it's a small pitch. I don't really know what it is, but we always seem to struggle at Petershill. What I did notice, and you'll maybe know the answer for this, that when we play Glasgow City, we come out in the dressing rooms as we're looking out on the right hand side, but against Partick Thistle, we come out the dressing rooms on the left hand side. Do you know? I take it Thistle's home dressing room is different from Glasgow City's home dressing room, or am I just surmising that? Did they do it to noise us up? Would you know?
Well, I don't, because the last time we played Partick Thistle at Petershill Park, we both came out of the one dressing, well, the one side. So I did find that bizarre. I watched that bit on the TV, noticed that we came out late, wondered what was going on, and then realised that we're coming out the bottom end, which is strange. So maybe there was 2 dressing rooms on that one side, and they said you can't do that, you need to be in 2 separate vets or something. Maybe we're just trying to noise us up and get in our heads a little bit, and maybe it worked. I don't know, but very strange. I don't know. Petershill's a weird one. I don't know why they don't have ball boys, ball girls that can get the ball, so it's not rolling down the hill and flinging over the fence all the time, which they enjoy to do, to just get the ball out of play.
Yeah, or going under the van that was for some reason parked on the far side with its back door open. I found that quite bizarre. Alan, I know we know the game finished 0-0, but I think we got away with one when Thistle had it wasn't a good goal chalked off because the whistle had gone before the ball even reached the lassie that put a great strike into the corner. Any idea what the free kick was actually for?
I had absolutely no idea at the time because I hadn't seen a foul. You know, I have no idea what the ref had blown for. Today I've seen the replay of it a few times on Twitter, and to say it's generous to give a foul for it would be underselling it. You know, the ref was abysmal for both teams. You know, ignore all the Twitter garbage about Rangers getting decisions and all that nonsense. You know, the ref was just abysmal. He gave a free kick for it. You can't give free kicks for that level of contact. You know, the game will be stopped more than it's actually going on. But the whistle clearly went before the ball was struck. Although, having watched the replay, I don't think that made any difference to whether or not we would have blocked it, because it didn't look like the players had time to stop. So we definitely dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Carl, I don't know if it would have made any difference had they scored. Would that have upped their game? Were we capable of upping our game? I mean, or was it just one of those days, just a bad day at the office? Put it down to never doing particularly well at Petershill and just move on.
I don't know. I think Partick, the way they set up, really did hinder us. So then we just fired long balls over the top, hoping they'd land on, Sarah or Rio's head, and it would work that way, like we kind of did in the Hearts game. But it just wasn't working. They were blocking everything, defending for their lives. So I think it's a mixture of the two, and we just seemed a bit off the boil that week. And I'm hoping that's just down to whatever was going on. They thought they could just stroll in and win and it'd be fine, and obviously that's not the case, and hopefully it's lit a fire under them now to they have to be perfect and play to their best ability every week. I don't know. It was just a bizarre game, and I mean, in my opinion, it's not a foul. They probably should have got the goal, but I don't know if they would have then sat in more or if they'd kind of open up a little bit, because maybe they want to go and get more and that would have helped us a little bit. I don't know, but the ref was shocking the whole game. And the amount of people on Twitter saying the brown envelopes are working and all this nonsense. If that's the case, we should have won the game. Why would we pay a ref to get a 0-0 draw against Partick Thistle? Come on, nonsense.
Yeah, these conspiracy theorists are absolutely brilliant, because if there's conspiracies that way, there's got to be conspiracies the other way, and it just doesn't work like that. So, but Alan Scar says we need to kind of up our game, improve. I mean, for me, we kept trying this long diagonal ball in behind the fullback, which it just didn't work.
No, it really didn't work. Anytime it did get past, Partick were very quick to get in recovery mode. But if you're playing against a low block and never taking shots outside the box, there's absolutely no encouragement for a defending team to step out and step onto you, because there's no threat in front of him. So they just sit him in a low block and can stay compact and not allow us any space in behind. And for being so quick to get the ball forward, we were very slow to move the ball when we were around the box and in the final third of the park. So we were all crying out for players to shoot for distance, but they're not getting it out of their feet quick enough. They're getting closed down before they can get a shot away, so they just keep passing it wide and not taking shots. So we know how to break down back defences, and we just didn't do it very well on Sunday.
Yeah, Carl, I think moving on to this coming Sunday, I don't think the low block should particularly be a problem, because I think, particularly given the last couple of games we've had, the opponents on Sunday, are going to come and have a right good go at us.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be very surprised if they parked the bus at Ibrox, of all places, to try and... Well, we would have enough space to be able to get in behind them anyway, so it wouldn't make any difference. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. So it should give us the ability to then go and play football, go and play our game, rather than punting long balls up the park to basically nobody that would just get defended. So it gives me more hope that we'll be all right, especially considering it'll be in their heads that we've beaten them. Well, they've not beaten us all season. We've beaten them every game we played against them. So it gives me hope that way, that hopefully they'll come. It's a big occasion being at Ibrox, which does give me the fear a little bit that we've moved it there and kind of made a spectacle of it, rather than just having it at Broadwood where it was meant to be, where the players know it's fine. But, it could end up being one of the happiest days of the season if we beat them at Ibrox comfortably, to go, more clear, because obviously we dropped points. But it just depends. They're going to come out and play football. We need to come out and play our football, and we'll be fine.
Alan, do you concur with that? Do you think the big pitch at Ibrox is going to work in our favour? Because they certainly wouldn't be able to play a low block. They'll need to, we've got very quick wide players, as we touched on earlier. We've got Mia, we've got Jodie, we've got Brogan. Lizzie's maybe not got the pace anymore, but she still knows how to get down the line. Do you think that the fact that it's at Ibrox, it's a nice big playing surface, is going to work to our advantage on Sunday?
I certainly hope so, given how direct we like to be playing down the wings. We give them a lot more space to work in, and games we've played against them, we like to try and be compact and make it difficult for us to get in behind. So I'm hoping that we use a big pitch to our advantage, but we need to make sure we're absolutely switched on, because they will score goals if we're given chances, and we can't allow that, particularly when goals have maybe dried up a wee bit in the last sort of week or so. We need to make sure we keep it tight at the back.
Yep, and Alan, as Brian said, he's heard the Govan front is now sold out. Now, whether it is or not, I know it was quite close to being sold out when I checked it earlier. The crowd's going to be a massive incentive for the girls on Sunday. The fact that there's going to be several thousand Rangers fans here cheering them on.
Definitely. It's great to see the Govan front sold out. You're going to sell the Govan rear next, which, generally speaking, I'd prefer that you'd move around to Coatland and get the front all sold out, but we have bar 72 open. It's natural we're going to sell out in the Govan rear first before looking to move into any of the other stands. Yeah,
it also helps because the TV cameras will be in the main stand, so it looks better with if he's looking across the pitch, there's one whole stand full of people. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I know you've got reservations about the game being at Ibrox from the incentive for them to kind of let us slip up, and if we slip up, it's right back in it. But they're right back in it. But I mean, for the profile of the game, the fact that it's at Ibrox it's fantastic. I mean, we've got to hope that the game lives up to the billing and the venue.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a good thing. A lot of the players are Rangers fans, so it's got to be massive for them to be able to play an Old Firm there. Potentially beat them to go a few clear and get rid of a title race, so to speak, going into the split. I think it is good. We want to be the forefront team as much as Glasgow City have been doing it for the last decade and a little bit more. Like, we want to be the team that's pioneering that. Trying to do everything kind of first, do it the best that we can. So it is good that more games are being played there. I would like it if they didn't clash with other games. It's annoying that it clashes with the men's team playing in Perth. It's bizarre. I understand they changed the time of it so the subway won't be shut because it's a Sunday. I understand that. I think that's the reasoning behind the time change, because it's meant to be 4:10 and now it's 3:10. So I assume that's why. But it kind of almost eliminates a lot of. The Union Bears won't be there, for example, because they'll be up in person. I doubt they're going to be able to get back down in time to all get in and get set up and everything to be there to cheer the team on, which is a bit frustrating when I'm sure they maybe want to be there because they like to be involved in these games at Ibrox. So it's kind of annoying that they've done that. But again, another fixture clash. Just constant, isn't it?
You're going to get me started because that's my biggest bugbear every week. It is. I mean, okay. It also highlights a societal problem in Glasgow. The fact that the Glasgow subway shuts at 6:00 on a Sunday night is absolutely scandalous. I mean, for an international city that's supposed to attract people to come to it, you know what I mean? I mean, they're looking for folk to have stag and hen weekends there, for example, and on a Sunday night, which would be an integral part of those sort of celebrations. The subway's not great; it only goes round in a circle, but it does the job it's there to do. Shutting at 6:00. I mean, Alan, you've recently been to Munich. Their subway doesn't shut at 6:00. For example, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
It's night and day.
To
what we haven't gone for.
It's bonkers. I mean, you're right. I personally know at least a dozen folk that would go to the game on Sunday at Ibrox, but can't go because they're in Perth, and have got no chance of making it back because they go up and supporters buses and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's make it the 4:10. Have a word with Glasgow Underground. So look, there's going to be 7,000-8,000 folk at Ibrox. You'll get a turn. Keep the subway open till 7. What's it going to cost? What's it going to cost Slackline Transport to keep the subway open for another hour? You know what I mean? Not a lot, really. You know what I mean? A couple of members of staff. That's all they need. Even if they say it's open and it's only going back into town. You know what I mean? It's going to. They close the stations as they normally would. And they keep 2 or 3 of them open. They'll keep Bridge Street open because there's a parking ride there.
Yep.
And they maybe keep Buchanan Street open or St Enoch's open. And that's it. The rest of it. You know what I mean? It is as it is, and that's it. People can work it out from there. But I mean, if that is the reason, that's very, very disappointing. You know what I mean? It's nuts, and you'll just get me started again. But I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try and make it. Had a trial run on Sunday on my way down to Petershill. I timed it when I left Broxton in Perth. And it took me just about an hour to get to Petershill, so I think I can probably just about do it if I get a flyer out. It depends on the stoppage time at McDermott Park, but I should hopefully be able to do it. I might miss the first 5 or 10 minutes, but so I'm not hoping for an early goal on Sunday just in case. You know what I mean? But if it happens, it happens. So before we get on to predictions for Sunday, Alan, the Scotland international squad, as we touched on earlier, was in fact before we get to that, Carl, we recalled Lucy Inman last week from her loan spell at, I want to say Hamilton Accies, is that what she was?
Queen's Park.
Queen's Park, of course it was. I knew that, didn't write that down, Queen's Park. And this week we've called in Megan Cunningham from Thistle. I know she's at Thistle. I'm assuming that you can only have an emergency loan back for a week. Otherwise, I would imagine we would have kept Lucy because Jenna's been only goalkeeper given that Vic's out with the New Zealand national team. I'm assuming that the rule is you can only have an emergency loan player back for a week. Otherwise, why would we bother calling one back and then the other one back?
And they did announce that it was a 7-day emergency loan, so I don't know if you can get longer emergency loans, because I've only ever seen a 7-day emergency loan, and we only did it a couple of times. I think it was the Celtic game last season. We did it with Megan because Vic was just back from international duty and was jet lagged. But I get the reasoning behind the order they've done it in. I think there's more likelihood that if Jenna gets sent off or something happens to her before Sunday, Megan probably is a better option than Lucy Inman. No harm to her, she's a good goalie, but against Celtic it's a bit hairy, having a kind of inexperienced keeper that you've put out on loan to Queen's Park, for example, against them. You'd rather have somebody that's got some experience against them and still plays in the league against them with another SWPL team. So I get the idea behind it, but it is bizarre. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Alan, do you not think it's a bit strange we left us all like knowing that obviously, I mean, they must have known New Zealand had Olympic qualifiers coming up, and Vic Essence, New Zealand's #1 choice goalkeeper, so she was always going to get the shout. So, did we leave ourselves a little bit short on that front, putting 2 goalkeepers out on loan?
Possibly, but I don't think any of the clubs in the SWPL are really carrying 3 goalkeepers in their squad. The squads are quite lean, and everybody's running quite light. I have seen that if we didn't, if we wanted anybody back for more than 7 days, we actually had to cancel the loan altogether.
Right.
So that's my understanding of the rule. If you can bring a player back temporarily, but any more than 7 days, you have to cancel the loan.
I knew there was a reason we got you on here tonight.
I can't confirm that. That's what I'm led to believe. But
that's good enough for me. No, it's good enough. Better than I had. It's good enough for me. Aye, we'll go with that. That's gospel. That's it. That's written down. So well, that explains that. So hopefully we don't need Megan on Sunday, and then obviously after that it's international break. So, which is a bit bizarre that we've got a goalkeeper away on international duty just before the international break. But I guess it's a different games calendar in it because it's the Southern Hemisphere and it's all that sort of stuff. So hopefully they do what they need to do. She gets to the Olympics and we can have a Rangers representation at the Olympics. That would be quite nice. So talking of international football, Car, Scotland squad announced today. Now, I'm not the biggest international fan in the world. I know you do follow it. And there's 5 of our players in the Scotland squad.
As there should be. Probably should be a few more. Nah, I'm joking. But it's nice to see Jane Ross in amongst it. Got a fair few caps already, so it's nice that she's back from injury and she's, feeling good enough to go out on some Pinatar Cup. I don't really understand what it is. I think it's a friendly cup thing. I don't think it's actually anything serious. It's not qualification for anything or whatever. But it's nice to see that, the normal ones that are called up are there, and then, a few additional ones. I'd seen online people concerned that Kathy hadn't been called up. I get that sentiment, but also I'd rather she didn't because she's been tremendous for us and I don't want her getting another injury and then we're short at the back again. So as much as she probably wants to get called up, I think she'd prefer to do it in a better setting where it's an official tournament rather than just some random friendly that she probably wouldn't even get game time at anyway. So I'm appreciative of the players that did get called up, the usual ones, and it's nice to have representation out there for Scotland and Northern Ireland and New Zealand and all the other nations that we've got players out at.
Yeah, Alan, just to clarify who the usual ones are, obviously Jane Ross, as Car touched on, Brogan Hay, Nick Docherty, obviously, Jenna Fife and Chelsea Cornett. That's our 5 that have been called up to Scotland. As I said earlier, no sign of any, which makes me think that she is going to be out probably till after the international break. Because if there was any prospect of her being fit to play this weekend, I think she'd have got a Scotland call up because she's that good. As Carl said, it'd be nice if Kathy was there, but from a purely selfish point of view, if they're going to take her and not play her like they've done in the past, she's as well just staying here and being fit to play for us.
Definitely, I think Kathy more than merits a call up, and if you look at make-up of that squad and a team that's possibly going to play 5 at the back at times, there's only 6 defenders in it, so the balance of the squad, there's far more midfielders in it than they need. Even taking any sort of bias towards Kathy out, I think there should have been at least one more defender in that. and Cathy's in the form of her life playing for a team at the top of the league. So very disappointed she's not been looked at, but it's brilliant for the ones who are in the squad. Chelsea's getting recognition for the form that she's in, and Jane back scoring goals, and Brogan back and started the year very well as well.
Yeah, Carl, Paul's comment there that Laura Berry scored for the Scotland under 19s, whatever it was last week against Sweden. She also scored on Sunday at the game you and Alan were at. So it was good to see Laura Berry doing what Laura Berry does.
That's what she does best, isn't it? She just loves to score a goal, but she looks like she's improved a little bit. I mean, not that she wasn't good before, but she looks like staying on side, all that kind of stuff. She looks a bit better at that, and she does quite well for the Scotland under 17. She's just been called up for the under 19s for their friendlies in Wales coming up. I don't know, is that the same international break as the one coming up in the next few weeks, Alan? I think you know the answer to that.
No, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. So she's
I'm
been
not going to the dates if we could possibly go down, but
that's right. It's under 19, so it's nice that they're getting. She played for them before, I think, but it's nice that some of our other players have been called up for that as well. So they're getting more experience under different coaches, different systems, different setups. So we've obviously got a talented academy set up and first team squad. So it's nice that everybody's chipping in with their countries that want to go and do so.
Yeah, absolutely, and I wish them all the best on their international journeys. Obviously, Megan Bell, who's currently on loan at across in Edinburgh at Hearts, she got called up for Northern Ireland as well. I noticed that, so hopefully she can get a run in the Hearts team now. I mean, Alan, I know you do the loan bit for your other podcast, so you'll probably be more aware of how the loan players are getting on, certainly than I am. But I mean, I know Megan was cup tied, and then obviously she couldn't play against us in the week. So hopefully she'll start getting a bit more game time with Hearts, and that'll make her loan worthwhile.
Definitely, most of the players who have been out on loan are in between as we do a loan review every week. Most of them have been getting a good amount of game time. Probably some of Laird's the only one that's not had a lot of game time. Although, let's give her credit, she was starting for Spartans and they won 6-0 at the weekend. So hopefully she's a lucky charm and she gets a lot more game time as the season goes on. But it's good to see that they're getting a chance and they're going out and impressing. And Megan will get a chance to impress against the teams in the top six, so it'll be a really good test for Megan.
Yeah, it will be. And like I said, obviously she can't play against us, so hopefully she can do as a turn it on against Celtic and Glasgow City. I've got no problem with Hearts taking points off of them if they can. So just before we go, Cara, a wee prediction for you for Sunday. I'm not going to ask for a team lineup because it could be absolutely anything. The only thing we know for certain is that Jen is going to be in goal. The rest of it, who knows? So score prediction for Sunday.
I think I said on our pod 1-0, so I'll stick with that. 1-0. I think Jenna will keep a clean sheet at Ibrox, safe hands, and I think Rio will get the goal. I think she'll get back on form and score the winning goal.
Okay, Alan?
I think on Sunday I made the prediction of 3-1, so I'll stick with that. First goal scorer, or go with Jane Ross. She knows how to score in the big games.
She does.
Yes, she does. I'm going to go for a comfortable 3-0 to the Rangers, and first goal scorer is going to be my new favourite player, Liv McLaughlin, because I think Liv's tremendous, and I'd love to see her score the opening goal against them. I'd love to see her score against them, but I'd love to see her score the opening goal against them. So that would be nice. So, folks, thanks very much for watching. If you can make it along on Sunday, I believe that Edmiston House is going to be open for screening of St Johnstone against Rangers from Perth. Following that, there's going to be it's not a podcast thing. I don't think it's like it's Stevie from Four Lads Had a Dream and Mary McKenzie from one of the supporters groups. I can't know what they call themselves. That's not being facetious. I just don't know what their name. I had to write yours down to get it properly. And that's going to be on in Edmiston House before the game. So the ideal situation, if you're going to the game at Ibrox, if you've got the time, is go along, support the club by giving some of your money over the bar in Edmiston House, buy yourself a coffee, whatever, watch the men's first team in Perth. Listen to what Stevie and Mari and whoever else have got with them have got to say for themselves. That'll be quite good because Mari certainly knows her stuff, and Stevie's always a good listen. And then across to the game, and Carl's dying to come in and say something.
It's Dave. Oh, I forgot
David Marshall.
David Marshall from Party Hand.
He's there as well, of course he is.
Yeah,
I forgot he was going to be there as well. Yeah, of course. So, and I mean, David's a long time supporter of the women's game. So, I mean, they certainly know this. I would say I'm a wee bit disappointed that I can't come in and listen to that because obviously I'll be helpful it down from Perth. Honestly, officer, I won't be breaking the speed limit if there's any.
Speed cameras on that road, you can.
Only as far as Stirling though. So if you can do that, if you can support obviously Edmiston House and through that to the club, and then obviously watch Stevie, Mari, and David do their stuff. I'm sure you'll see Karen there. Laura will probably be in there as well. I'd imagine at some point see what they've got to say. Alan will be kicking about. If you go to the game, you might see me rushing in at the very last minute. But here's hoping we get a successful victory. We'll be back. I want to say next Monday, but I couldn't guarantee it. We'll be back early next week to talk about the game because we're not leaving the Old Firm game a week. Unless it goes wrong, then I'm going into hiding. But we should be back next week. So, Carl, thanks very much for joining me on this Tuesday night. Alan, thanks a lot for stepping in at the last minute. Absolutely stellar performance from you, as expected. So it's absolutely brilliant. We'll have you on again of that. There's absolutely no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. Brian, you need to up your game, son, because your jacket's on a shaky peg. So we shall speak to you all again very, very soon. Here's hoping that it's a very nice, comfortable Old Firm victory on Sunday. Rangers sitting pretty, 7 points clear at the top would be very, very nice. Good night.